Today it's a very simple recipe. My grandmother's from Rhode Island. We're going to be doing a stuffing for either lobster or shrimp, and just basic ingredients are going to be soda crackers and butter and Coleman's mustard, or you can use any dry mustard you like, whatever suits your fancy. And that's it. Very basic ingredients, and just lobster and the shrimp or whatever you're using, and paprika on top, and broil it and eat. This was learned from my grandmother, and she's Grandma Julia, and she was a Leo, and I'm also a Leo, so we kind of had a connection there, and she loved to cook. She was born on Block Island, which is off the coast of Rhode Island, and the whole family originated there, and actually from England, and then came over to Block Island and settled there. She was born and raised, and then she moved to Rhode Island when she was a young girl. Her great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, was an owner of Shore Diner, which was on the island, which was right within Old Harbor. Boats would come in and people would get off and eat there, and it was a 50-cent diner, which included all kinds of seafood and watermelon for dessert and what have you. So I think it's always been in the family blood. I think the uniqueness is the simplicity of it all, and just using just ingredients that you'd probably have in your pantry, which makes it easy. And being on an island, they didn't have boats coming and going, so a lot of things they had to either salt things, which they would salt their cod, salt their fish, salt meat, and keep it. They have something called Block Island turkey, which my family and my grandmother would always make. Just boiled potatoes, salt pork, which was fried up and cubed, then onions with vinegar, salt and pepper, and marinate those, and then what was the last ingredient? Salt cod, of course. And you'd reconstitute that and bring it back to life, and you mix it all up and eat it, and it's fabulous. So that was one of her famous things. Clam cake she'd make, quahog pie she would make. Quahogs are a big clam, and you go quahogging out there with a little bucket and rake and get the clams, and then she'd bring them in, and she'd have a grinder, and she'd put it on the side of the table, and she'd grind the clams up and get the juice out and make a gravy. And then pie crust was another favorite thing that I learned from her. This is a cruet set from the restaurant Shore Diner, early 1900s. So this would have been on the table. People used this for making their salads. They would have their salt and pepper, oil and vinegar. One of the sides was mustard. They would use that for what have you. But this was a great item. So today we're going to be working with the stuffing, which can be used for pretty much any seafood. You could even use it for sole, but primarily my family used it for shrimp and lobster. So basically saltines, she'd put them in a plastic bag, or you could put them on the counter, whatever is easier for you. She'd take a rolling pin and just smash. And they don't have to be super small chunks, just enough to get it so that the butter can bring it together. And then she melts butter on the stove. So I'll be taking probably one sleeve of saltines, a stick and a half of butter, and melted. I would go in the kitchen and watch her, and that's where I learned a lot of things, just by looking and feeling things and watching her do it, which was, I think, is a lot to say. With cooks, people, you need to do that. It's not, books don't tell you everything. Now I'm going to stir up the and then about 2 teaspoons to 3 teaspoons of dry mustard. And like I use Coleman's, I just like the flavor. You can use whatever you'd like. And then you just arrange your seafood on a foil pan. And put the stuffing on as much as you like, and then a little paprika, and then put it in the high oven about 400, and broil it for 8 to 10 minutes, depending upon the size of the shrimp or the lobster. Oh, the flavors are amazing. I mean, butter. Who doesn't love butter? Crunchiness from the saltine, so you've got the salt from that, you've got the salt and the butter. It just, it's heaven. Pure heaven. It happens with me. I mean, I feel that they're with me, and when I create something, I'm able to create something just because I have this sense, and I don't know exactly what it is other than the fact of looking back in my past and the people in my family owning the restaurant. Another one was on a schooner and cooked for a crew. Another family member owned a catering company in the 50s. So I feel like it's just within me. And people say, well, how do you know how to cook? Where'd you go to school? Well, I think it's just in you. I mean, if it is and it's in your heart, it's just there. Fish dinners at the Old Stand, head of the wharf at the Old Harbor, a place where the excursionist will find the very best of everything at a moderate price. M.S. Barber, proprietor.